is in the basement mixing up the medicine.
Hey everybody, this is Dan, and first off, I'd like to apologize for being so casual again this week. I'm sort of in between errands. Last week I promised that we'd have a light assignment this week. This is Thanksgiving week, and as promised, what we're going to do is we don't have a reading, and we don't have any mandatory assignment that you have to post to the discussion board. But I would like you to watch a documentary that I think you'll find interesting on YouTube, and I'll post the link on our class website. And the documentary is about a gentleman named Robert Noyce, and he's probably someone who most of you have not heard of, but he's important for a number of reasons. Now, first off, last week we read about David Sarnoff, and part of that RCA reading was about vacuum tubes, sort of the precursor of the modern electronic industry. And there's a real connection between Robert Noyce, vacuum tubes, and the modern era of Intel and Silicon Valley. So this is a great documentary that serves as a bridge to kind of get us out of the old and into the new. Now, there's a couple of things to pay attention to in the video. First off, this connection between old and new. And they're going to talk in the video about a gentleman named Shockley, who was really the inventor of the transistor, and how his knowledge transferred to Robert Noyce, and how this eventually grew into the integrated circuit. And so it's really interesting because obviously integrated circuits are in everything we use, from our cell phones, our computers, calculators, you name it. And it's a fascinating story. The other nice thing about this is that it starts to connect us from old to new as far as individuals are concerned. The documentary is about an hour long, and watch the whole thing, because near the end you're going to see where the connection from Shockley Semiconductor way back in the 1950s goes through Robert Noyce, through the formation of Fairchild Semiconductor, through the formation of Intel, and then eventually to Steve Jobs and Apple Computer. So it's really pretty much a fascinating story. Now, so there's a lot of technology in it, but from a standpoint of American business, the other thing that I find really interesting is this idea between old and new as far as a way the businesses run, as far as a hierarchy is concerned. And you'll see in the case of Robert Noyce and this establishment of Silicon Valley companies, that the old methods of management change rapidly, and Noyce is at the forefront of this. So the video is good not only because it gives us a feel for technology and sort of the modern corporation, but it also gives us a feel for how management styles have changed over the years. And if you compare Intel to perhaps Carnegie Steel, and the unions and all the stuff we've read about, you can see in some industries anyway, there's been a real transition in American business. So I think it's interesting to think about that. Now, I know not all the businesses are like the businesses in Silicon Valley, and I know many of the occupations and people that we work for today still operate on this hierarchical system. But I think that when we think of the leading businesses in the country and how they're structured, that this change that came about in the 1960s is something that we should know about. So go ahead and watch the video. As I said, it's about an hour long. You have all of Thanksgiving week to watch it, and it's very interesting. And I will put a post up on the discussion board. You can comment if you want to, but it's not mandatory. And have a great holiday, and I'll catch you afterwards. Take care. Bye-bye.